Good evening and welcome. Thank you everybody for attending today. My name is Barbara Venturi and I'm the COO of Women's Enterprise Development Center, or WEDC as we are affectionately known. I'd like to thank our presenters for this evening for generously sharing their time to come here and educate us on how to do business with their corporations and how to do business as an MWBE supplier in general. If I could have the panelists just come up here for a second so I can introduce everybody, that would be terrific. Okay. To my left is Tim Coates, Program Manager, Economic Development, IBM Corporate Citizenship. Next we have Julie Jackson, Executive Vice President of Project Management for Devlin, sorry, didn't make it into Devlin Hair. Next we have Sue Hood, Supplier Diversity and Sustainability Sourcing and Supplier Management, MasterCard Corporation. Next to her we have Kirsten Knott, owner of Ready or Not Design. And we have, at the end there, Janice George, who's a senior buyer with Regeneron Pharmaceuticals. So I'd like to thank you all for making the effort to come here. Some of you have come from far away, St. Louis, so we appreciate that in coming to share your knowledge with us. Thank you. I would also like to thank IBM today for generously providing the refreshments that we have outside. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. For those of you that may not be familiar with WEDC, our mission for the past 18 years has been to empower entrepreneurs to build successful businesses by providing high-quality, comprehensive training programs for startup and existing businesses. In addition, WEDC provides ongoing support to our clients through one-on-one counseling, business loan counseling, and an application assistant for MWBE certification, and workshops and webinars. We like to think of our agency as a full-service agency, helping business owners at every stage of business development, from when they first are thinking about starting a business and have a business idea, to when they're ready to expand and need to access capital. We hope that you will find this panel presentation valuable to you in providing potential new ways for you to procure business from large corporations locally as well as nationally. I'd like to ask if you could all turn off your cell phones or just make sure everything is on silent before we start. And I would like to bring up Jim Coleman now, who is our Executive Director of the Westchester IDA, to say a few words. Jim?
Well, thank you very much, Barbara. It is always a pleasure to be at a WEDC event. I love WEDC. On behalf of County Executive Rob Estorino, it is a pleasure being here this evening. I work for Rob as the Executive Director of the Westchester County Industrial Development Agency, as well as the Local Development Corporation. What I do is I help entrepreneurs every single day, small companies and large companies, to help them to grow and expand. But what we're here for tonight, WEDC, is just a transformative community in that it's got smart people that are here and ready to help you to be successful with your business. I think about my great-grandfather a lot, just about probably on the hour. March the 27th, 1888, he had been a slave on this farm that he purchased on March the 27th, 126 years ago. March the 27th, 1888, he bought that farm for $1,200. That might as well have been $1.2 billion at that time. And that's when my life was formed. I was born on August the 21st, 1960, but I was conceived on March the 27th, 1888, and sold as much as 300 of his other descendants. Because with that farm, he was able to send his grandchildren to college during the 30s and 40s. I went to college. It was paid for 100% because of that one transaction on that one special day, March the 27th. What you're getting ready to see tonight, you're up here looking at these incredible companies, IBM, Regeneron, MasterCard. These are companies that are seriously trying to find each of you to do business. Not because it's nice to do, but they're serious about wanting to do business with you. WEDC brought this all together. If my great-grandfather was at WEDC in 1888, Warren Buffett would be calling me getting stock tips. I would be a trillionaire, okay? They did not have WEDC. They did not have a nice county executive like Rob Estorino. They did not have grants and loans and ways of being able to help you. You just had to do it on your own. Tonight, there is absolutely no excuse why you are not successful in your business, no matter how small it is right now, whether it's close to being in the conceptual stage or whether if you've been in business for 5 or 10 years. We are living at the best time that we could ever have when you've got a great firm like WEDC that can help you to really make your business grow. I had an analyst that talked at this big conference about 4 weeks ago that I went to, and she said there are a couple of things that are going on in our overall economy in the United States that really is making it look great for our future. Number one is that all of the millennials are starting, of course, to retire, 70,000 per day. And they're selling assets and buying assets. They're moving to the Ritz-Carlton. The other thing, though, that's happening is that this year, a lot of the 35-year-olds that are turning 35-year-olds, what's it called? The people that are young, not the millennials, but the Gen X. They're turning 35 years old this year. And what happens over the next 10 years, they're going to be buying houses, cars, they're going to be having kids. The economy is going to be on fire for the next 10 years. Third thing that she said is that most of us, including myself, we've gotten out of a lot of the subprime mortgages where we all went out and bought a lot of property, and we've gotten out of it. Our credit, our financial wherewithal is coming back, and Americans are starting to buy again. The economy is on fire. Tonight, make sure that you take a lot of notes from these incredible companies that are here. Introduce yourself. Take advantage of these times. Be successful. Don't go through the WEDC program and come out of it saying, well, I just want to make, $20,000 a year. You have the opportunity to make as much as you want. Rob Estorino wants you to do that. I want you to do that so you can help our residents to go back to work. And that's why we're so committed on a daily basis, because right now we've got about 18,000 of our residents that are looking for you for having jobs. Get a contract. Work with these wonderful companies. Keep your company growing. Stay in touch with WEDC and keep yourself focused on the controllables and continue to be positive. God bless you all. I wish you the best in your business. If I can help you in any way, please give us a call at any time, and thank goodness for WEDC. Thank you all very much.
All right, Jim is our inspirational speaker for the evening. We're all fired up and ready to go. All right. And with that said, we'd like to kick off the program with Tim Coates from IBM, who will be talking to you about the Supplier Connection program.
Well, I got the bad fortune of following that. That sucks. Thank you, everybody. It's great to be here. And it's great to be talking on this topic, too. It really is an important topic. And it's an important topic for 2 reasons. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, great. Important topic for 2 reasons. One, because it just makes, oh, I can turn this on. You hear that buzz? It's okay, good. So important topic for 2 reasons. One, it's just a great opportunity to get a contract that can make a big difference for your company. We did some research a few years ago. We contracted with the Center for an Urban Future, looking at the impact a contract with a corporation makes for a small business. What they did, they surveyed companies that are both similar types of companies. One company didn't get a contract, and another company did. What we found is that 2 years after getting a contract with a corporation, a small business grew by 250%. So just a staggering figure. So much staggering that you're like, really, is that true? But even if it's only half true, it's still a staggering figure, and it still is really important. And it really speaks to the idea of gaining credibility and gaining leverage that comes from working with a big brand name. We also found that companies that got a contract 2 years after added jobs at 2.5 times the rate. So they're also being able to continue growing revenues, continue growing jobs. So that's a really important piece. That's the first reason why this is important. Second reason, though, is because it's often we get lost thinking about the large size of that contract, and wouldn't it be awesome to work for MasterCard or IBM or others. And we don't think about how difficult it can also be. It can be a real challenge. We are a big company. We have large contracts. We have processes that will just bury you if you're not careful. And we also have we have data requirements that are also really difficult to work with. So if you are not ready, if you haven't done homework thinking about working with a large company, it could mean a really difficult time for you, if not at the end. And so you need to be very careful and think about, is this the right path for the company that I have? If it is the right path, though, there's a lot that can happen. It can be a great opportunity. As Barbara mentioned, I sit inside corporate citizenship. So our job is to think about IBM software services and then how do we take that software and make an impact on the world. We saw the amount of impact that a small business can have by winning contracts with a large organization. And so we started thinking, well, how do we make this happen across a lot more companies? How do we take clients of IBM, AT&T, Facebook, DuPont, and also get them energized around working with us, small companies? And is there a way we can take software and build a platform? Because we found out that 80% of all the questions our companies ask are pretty much the same question. So anybody take the Common App for college or have kids who've applied using the Common App for college. It's very much the same thing. There's all the colleges, they may say they ask different questions, but they're not really asking different questions. They're the same types of questions. And so we're the same. Based on sectors, they can get very different. Financial sectors can be very different. Energy, pharmaceuticals, very different than IT. So that's the 20%. But the 80%, very the same. So how do we make it easier for small businesses to fill out an application? Just fill it out once, and then get exposed and get access to companies from across the board. So this is our Supplier Connection platform. So we launched this in 2011 with the idea about fostering job growth across the U.S. So it's an idea that says there's a lot of corporations that if they're just able to make it easier to work for small businesses, this becomes an opportunity to get more of those funds down to small firms, because we know job creation happens at that small firm level. Job creation doesn't happen at the IBM level. And so we need to push those contracts down. So I'm going to give you a live demo of this to be able to show exactly how it works and what happens. Since we launched it in 2011, we have spent $4.5 billion has been spent by Supplier Connection companies on the small firms on the platform. So there's a lot of traction. Just 2014 alone, the spending was about $2 billion, and so that's been going up really swiftly. We have 31 companies on there now, and I'll show you who those companies are. Together, those firms are spending every year about $20 billion on a small firm. So there's a real commitment from these companies to find a way to work with smaller firms. Just before I start the actual demo, it is important to understand that the whole procurement process is and can be really long. And so Julie has a good story about how long it actually takes to get into and to break into a corporate supply chain. We've done research and it takes about 21 touches, 3 years to get into a corporation if that's your path. So it's not an easy path. What Supplier Connection does is it works on that front end, on that supplier, the whole discovery phase of things, helping companies find the next supplier for them that can fill a big niche for them and a big gap. So we're going to just exit that, and we're going to jump into the platform itself. So this is the public page. So if you go to supplier-connection.net, this is what you'll see, and this is the public-facing page. So on that page, you'll see information about how the program works, and there's a nice video on there, so just a lot of fun stuff, as you would expect on a front page. So these are the companies that we work with, and we actually had a procurement-to-procurement phone call. Oh, you can't. Can you see that? Well, what's my angle? Okay, so there's 28 companies on there right now. There's 3 more that have signed up over the past few months. We haven't put their logos up yet. And these are companies that we all know. We've got Kellogg's, Office Depot, Pfizer. Most of them are based here too. Many of them are based either in Westchester County or in York City. Citibank, Caterpillar. And what's nice about this is depending on if you're selling into pharma, we've got Merck, Pfizer, Amgen, Takeda. If it's manufacturing, Caterpillar, Caterpillar, Lockheed Martin, Deere. If you're finance, Citi, JP Morgan. So there is some very nice clusters of really strategic sectors that are important, which is important to know as you're thinking about how to position yourself with these companies. And then so who is eligible for this? That's really an important question, because companies like IBM do not buy from the local pizza shop, the convenience store. We're looking for actual products that either go into our products, a lot of services. IBM is very much a service company today, so we're looking for a lot of professional services, or we're looking for things to help the company, such as oil for the buildings, to heat of the building, cleaning services, so we can clean the buildings. Those types of things are also really key for us as well. So we only accept on Supplier Connection categories of stuff that the buyers actually are looking to buy. We don't want you on there if you don't sell any of these things, because that's a waste of your time, it's a waste of our time. So you may only see 8 up there, but if you open them up, there's actually quite a few subcategories within the categories. Professional services ends up being the bulk of the buying that happens, and so this is the catch-all. There's a lot of things that are in there, everything from event planning, marketing services, software development, app development, personnel services, resource training. So there's a lot of types of companies that I assume you all are too. And how do we define a small company? That's often a big question, because there's the SBA at the federal government level actually has probably about 35 different definitions for small. We've said we'll just cut it at a high size. So $50 million worth of revenue, and then 500 people or less. So that, I wouldn't count a company that's got 500 staff as a small company. The SBA does, so we've counted it. We've pulled the data of the companies that are winning the contracts. This year we had over 1,000 companies engaged and in winning contracts. The average size is about 50 people. And the average age, about 5 years old to 15 years old. So they're not a startup. And that's a really important thing. If you're a large company, startups are super risky. You don't want to get near them, because they could explode tomorrow. We need companies that have a long track record. So this is, and then you would register. So here's the registration page. And I'm not going to take you through and waste time filling out the form. I've already got one started. And so this is what, once you've finished, it looks very much like a LinkedIn dashboard, and we've openly copied from some of the best social networks out there. So you can see like a LinkedIn, you have information to help manage a profile. So you can see how many times your search has actually come up. This account is a dummy account, so the fact that it hasn't come up in any searches shouldn't surprise anybody. So this month we've had 0 profile views. So if this was an actual company, I would look at this and say, something's not right. I'm not showing up in searches. Why not? Have I not filled out the form well enough? Have I not showcased the capabilities that I've got? And so we'll show exactly how that works. In the middle, we see the endorsement badge. This is a really important badge. One of the main pieces companies look for is, have you done business with someone else like me? Because that means you've already passed all their hoops. You can pass my hoop a lot easier. I'm probably taking all their lines right now. So the endorsement badge is a badge that has been given to you by another company on the Supplier Connection platform to show our peers that someone else has done business with you. It's not a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's simply they've passed our criteria and we've done business. So in this case, I'll click on that, and it'll say IBM's the company that this company's done business with. So it's another way to show, oops, that's me. It's another way to show seriousness about being on the platform, giving a corporate contract. And then down below, one of the things that's important, you still have to go out there and do business development. You still have to shake hands, go to events, build contacts, and pitch yourself. So this doesn't counteract that. So what we've done to help that is we also list a lot of events that are happening that all of our corporations go to. So there's a lot of events, NMSDC, I guess that was last week. This week coming up in Baltimore, there's a WeBank conference that a lot of companies are going to. So if you're a supplier on here, you can see where these companies are at and say, okay, that's a meeting I gotta go to because I know that there's gonna be 20 companies that I can shake their hand at, and I can say, I'm on Supplier Connection, I do this and that, let's talk. So this is, and then we're building this out, and I'll come back to the badge piece in a little bit because there's a lot of things we can do there. And so WEDC and us have also talked about ways we can enhance that. So I'm gonna sign out as a supplier, and I'm going to sign back in as a buyer. We have developed this to really help the buyers. This has been a buyer-first platform. It's like the dating game in a bit, where you've got the female who's looking out at the crowd. You've got the wall between the female and the guys, and the female's asking all the questions, and the guys just have to kind of give the answers. And so this is very similar to that. The buyers, the corporations are the female, and all these small businesses, they're the guys. And so, a bit unfair, but that's the way the world works. It's tough. It's tough being a guy. So if you're a corporation, this is your dashboard. So you can see this is IBM's dashboard, and this is the dashboard that we have. And if you can't see, I'll try to highlight that. So over the first 2 weeks of March, you can see we've had 47 buyers log in and do combined 120 searches. So that's quite an active, for a single company, that's quite an active operation. Total on the platform across all of our 31 companies, I checked it this morning, there's 347 buyers across all the companies using this on a regular basis. And then you can see the 27, what 27 corresponds to is every corporation has a profile page. And so 27 small businesses have looked at IBM's profile page. So this is just to get a sense for all the companies that are going inside your company, inside your kind of walled garden, what's going on, how many people are actually using it to find companies. So you can also you can see inside buyers, I can go in and I can see who all the buyers inside my company are that are using it. So if I'm MasterCard, I can see Sally's using it, Jim's not. Let's get more action happening. I'm pitching them to join this at the same time as I'm talking to you. Because it'll be easy for all of you to then get a work with him. But the real magic here comes from the find a supplier operation. So you can see this is a very clean way of looking at a whole bunch of different types of companies. This is just a big list now. But let's say I'm looking for a very specific type of company, because often as a corporation, I'm not looking for a generic type of firm, I'm looking for a very specific one. Let's say I've got a client coming in for a meeting, I'm looking to pick them up from the airport, and they're going to fly in to JFK. So I'm going to go limo, New York City. I'm going to try to find something that comes up. And I'm searching, and you can see I've got quite a few different services. How many? I've got 3, 6. So I got a few services that I can start looking through. And I've got these nice little cards that allows me to very quickly view and see whether any of these companies actually suit what I'm looking for. I was talking to someone earlier about SIC codes. If I knew that I was searching via NAICS codes, a lot of companies that do federal government work have NAICS codes. I could search by that. So I could just start typing in NAICS codes. I don't know any of them off by heart. But that's one way to do it. So you can search and you can see what NAICS codes are there. But mostly how people use it is by filtering. And a lot of the type of purchasing we do is a very specific type of company. And so let's say I'm looking for an IT services firm that's a women-owned service disabled veteran-owned company. So a very specific type of category. So I'm going to go and I'm going to go industry and I'm going to pick technology. So I'm going from having approximately, I'm going to get rid of limo New York City. So this is what a buyer does. A buyer is going to go into the platform, and this is even if they didn't have a platform, they're thinking in this way anyway. They're looking for a very specific type of company. And so certifications matter because that's part of how buyers decide. So I'm going to go technology because that's the sector that I'm looking for. Looking for an IT staffing firm. I'm going to, and I want staffing services, so that falls under professional marketing and technical services. And then I want service disabled veteran owned. So I'm going to go down to diversity status. I'm going to click on diverse. You see there's almost 600 diverse companies in this category already. So WEDC and Westchester are looking to get more Westchester companies on here so people can find them. Service disabled veteran owned. I'm going to click on that, which will help me filter further. And now you can see I went from having almost 3,000 suppliers at 30 to having 14. And I want it to be women, so I'm going to click on my certification. And I'm going to go down to that. And I saw it when I was playing around, so trust me, it's here. Women, there we go, we bang. So here I've gone down to 1. Typically the final search doesn't give you 1, it gives you 4 to 5. But now if I'm a buyer, I'm thinking, okay, now I've gone from having this whole kind of universe of companies to having just a few that I know are on here that I can look through and I can quickly assess them to figure out what I'm looking for. So I'm going to click on this, SRE, wherever this company is based, West Virginia, I think. So now I'm going to click on a company's profile. And this is where knowing your company, knowing who your company is, the value proposition, everything that your company stands for matters. Because the more clear you can say that, articulate that, the easier it is for me to actually say, okay, yes, you're a good fit. No, you're not a good fit for me. And it's not a kind of yes or no, you're a bad company, you're a good company. I just have a very specific thing that I'm looking for. And I'm trying to find that. And so here, if I'm looking on the platform, what I see is I can see where the company is based. I have a little bit of a synopsis of who they are. I can see who the key contacts are. And they didn't. What would have gone on here to make this an even stronger profile is a nice video, like a 30-second video about what that company does, and that would go there too. But I want to know a little bit more about this firm, so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to look, and I'm going to click on some of their tabs. So this is all part of the application. So when you fill out the application, there's 140 questions. That's a lot of questions. That's not because we're trying to make it a lot of questions, it's just as a public company, we need a lot of information. We are kind of required by law to ask you and collect a lot of information that you might think is really, why am I actually telling them this? But this is just the way it is, unfortunately. What Supplier Connection is trying to do is make you do that once. So you don't, and then we as a company can export information from this system into our own systems. So you don't have to redo it over and over again. But I can look at this and I can see, okay, they've got major customers. They do work with a lot of agencies inside the federal government. They do work with some private sector firms in Northrop Grumman. They clearly have a lot of experience doing federal government work. I can see their hierarchy when the company was established, 2007, so they're not young. They're not super old, but nor are they a startup. I can see that they've got about 18 staff, so that's decent size. I can think about what I can expect from that. I can look at some of their key offerings, and this is where the company actually probably hasn't done a good enough job filling out the platform. Because right now, I can just see their key offerings, but I don't know what solution that it was for another company. And so part of the work we'll talk about afterwards is partnerships we have with different economic development agencies to help people really flesh out the platforms in a meaningful way. So there's that. And then there's a bunch of other features on here for the buyer themselves to make it more convenient. Because you've got to think about it from a buyer's point of view. It's easier to work with a single medium-sized or large company than to work with 20 small companies. So how do I make it easy for the buyer and more convenient? And this platform is part of that. So if I was looking up this company's diversity information, I could see here's their information. I can download their certificate right off the platform. And then if I really like them, this is what we want. We want them to actually email the company right on in the platform. So an email would go to them from IBM saying, IBM found you, we're interested, can you tell us more about X, Y, and Z? and we can start that conversation and start those interactions happening. That's the bulk of it. And some of the things that we have just recently launched is called an opportunity marketplace. So this is a beta version. We launched it Tuesday. A lot of companies, large corporations don't put a lot of stuff out to bid. We just do a lot of private transactions. But there are times when it is important to actually put out a post saying, hey, we have an RFP, we're looking for a company around this or around that. So a marketplace is a brand new feature to find posts. So here we have one from IBM. This was our first one. And IBM is looking for service-disabled, veteran-owned small companies. There's no real information here. We just always like to have a long list of those companies because we're always looking to fill that particular niche. So now the marketplace is a place for you to go to find from the 31 corporations, who are they looking to buy from, what are they posting. So it's a good place just to kind of check back. You can also set up an email so you don't actually have to go to the website. The website and the information can come to you based on information you put into the site. So I know that I'm running long on time, so I want to just kind of some of the things that we're working on right now that I want to talk about and I want to end on. One of the real efforts and the real feedback we have from the corporations on our platform is they're always looking for more suppliers and higher quality suppliers. Suppliers that have an understanding about what it takes to actually work with a corporation. We're now partnering with organizations in Connecticut and New York State for what we call a kind of regional growth partners. And so those are companies that are doing workshops around financials, around production, and around creating a very rich supplier connection profile. And so you'll be able to get a badge that will go onto your platform that will say, I finished a workshop on production process, or I finished a workshop and a set of classes on financials for corporate procurement. And then if I'm a corporation, I can actually click on that badge and ask you to send me some very, very detailed information that otherwise you wouldn't actually put up on a public site like this. So it's an opportunity to continue to get that information in for the corporations who are looking for that. So with that, Barbara, I'm out of time, I'm done.
Hello? Okay, I'd like to ask now to give a real story about how Supplier Connection has worked for the company and what the experience has been. Julie Jackson from Devlin Hair Productions. Thank you, Julie.
So I think it's really funny that everything that Tim talked about as far as being average, we are not. Devlin Hair Productions has been in business for 24 years. We currently have a staff of 10, although we hire probably about 75 contractors or freelancers annually. And we're women-owned, so we're the ladies on the side. When I first started at Devlin Hair, we had done maybe 2 videos for IBM, and that's about it. And they were very into the procurement and the sourcing side of things, and it took about 3 years for us to even become a preferred supplier. So you have to become a preferred supplier before you can even bid on any business. Once we became a preferred supplier, it took about another 3 years for us to be able to get to the right table of where we really wanted to be. After we did that, it took us about another year to get a piece of business. So yeah, that's a huge investment in time, in resources, in heartache. But at the end of the day, to Tim's point, once we captured that one piece of business, we doubled our staff in 6 months, and we doubled our revenue. So we went from a $2 million company to a $5 million company in 9 months, which is a huge change. And all of that because we started to get into the arena of working for corporate. What we didn't realize initially is really what that means. We knew about the investment as far as, because it's not even a marathon, it's a triathlon. And we'd been through the first 2 parts, which is being picked for the team and then sitting on the bench. But now we had to play. So once you have to play, you know, there's a lot of different rules. You have to be compliant with their processes, which first you have to learn. You have to be able to be invested in their payment terms, which may not be the terms that you have with your vendors. You have to be able to be present to report your revenues in a way that you may never have done before. And you really have to make the investment in the staff of people who are going to keep that up and are going to be able to hopefully grow with your business so that they have some institutional knowledge that they can pass on to other people. But then you also have to change your processes. You start to kind of work like them and think like them, and you don't lose your sense of self, but you become more corporate yourself in order to keep up. We were also a preferred supplier for Microsoft for about 7 years. We got 0 business from Microsoft. The reason why is because we're located in New York and their headquarters are in Bellevue, Washington. And even though they have an office half a mile from ours, we couldn't get any business from the New York office because we didn't have anybody in Washington knocking on their door every single day. So we had to make the decision that this isn't a good relationship for us. Not that they're not a great company, not that we didn't love to put it, you know, on our client list, but that wasn't going to be a win-win situation. And that's the hard part when you start to get into this corporate arena of deciding what companies are going to be best for you. When is it the right time for you to step into that place? The great thing about IBM is that with Supplier Connection, that was another tool in our toolbox. So we already had connections with sourcing, which is what we needed. We already had direct client connections, which is what we needed. But it was really challenging for us to meet new people because people leave companies, they change jobs, they go to different areas. So we would lose track of people because, again, you know, now you're working not with a company that has a staff of 50, but with a company that has a staff of 50,000, you know. So what happened to us is that we were asked to fill out the Supplier Connection form, and you know, we did it because we're a good corporate citizen. And about 6 months later, I got a call from someone I'd never heard of before saying, we'd like you to produce our NMSDC and our WBENC booths for IBM. No bid. We're just gonna, you know, give you the money, we want you to do it. And I said, that's great, you know, we work with this person, that work. They're like, yeah, I don't care. You're a diverse supplier. I see that, you know, you've filled out everything on the Supplier Connection. You've been endorsed by somebody at IBM, so I trust you. It's a huge amount of trust for someone to just go, for us to just have filled out a form. Now, if you were to ask me, oh, well, then that must be where you guys got all your money from this. No, it's a small percentage of the business we even do with IBM. But what it has done, it's put us in front of other buyers because it happens to be for the procurement section. So we're able to have a constant dialogue and to foster more relationships with the people who are buying the bigger ticket items that are then allowing us to see a real impact on our bottom line. So that opportunity has turned into a bigger opportunity that's exponentially, you know, relatable to us and our business. So, you know, a lot of people, and even Devlin Hair, thought, oh, this is another thing we have to fill out, this is another thing we have to do. But once you do it and you commit to it, it really does pay off at the end of the day. And I, just in looking at the list of the clients, we have 7 clients that are on that list. And I think we're only endorsed by 3. So now I know that I need to go back to them and go, hey, why don't I have a badge from you? You know, I need to get a badge up there so that I can have another opportunity, do another piece of business. So, you know, for Barbara Hair and Dorothy Devlin, who own our company, you know, they took a real chance 24 years ago to start in a business that's male dominated. There's a lot of competition, and it's hard to stay afloat. There's a lot of, we're almost like restaurants, people who provide event services. You know, there's a million of us out there. But in order to have the longevity, you do have to have the vision of being able to go for that corporate client or 2, but also you have to be able to have the vision of what do you want your company to look like? Because if you really want to start to have a list of solely corporate clients, your culture is going to change, your outlook is going to change, and how you spend your resources is going to change. So we have a good mix. We have probably 5 or 6 large corporate clients and about 5 or 6 clients that are privately owned. But what I do is I make sure that we are compliant for our privately owned clients the same way we are for our corporate clients, so that there is a consistency and we can have standard operating procedures that we don't have to change at a moment's notice. That's it.
Okay. We'll have plenty of time for questions and answers later on, but now I'd like to bring up Sue Hood, who is the Director of Supplier Diversity and Sustainability, Sourcing and Supplier Management from MasterCard.
Hi everyone, and thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm the one from St. Louis, and I truly appreciate the great weather that you brought so I can enjoy my time here, because I was dreading the snow. So, I want to talk about MasterCard Supplier Diversity Program and how we do business with diverse suppliers and how diverse suppliers do business with MasterCard. So, but why is supplier diversity important? I get asked that question so much by our internal people. You know, I've got my suppliers I've been using for 15 years. I really like them. Why should I even listen to you? What are they going to bring to the table? Well, it's more than just it's the right thing to do. It's important because best-in-class corporations have supplier diversity programs. It's not only just part of their nature of that, but we have investors and our customers are asking for this information because we deal with other major corporations that have the same type of programs. If they have to do it, they want to make sure that we're doing it also. They're asking us in RFPs, in annual reports, at our annual shareholders meetings. We have people saying, well, what about your supplier diversity program? And we have to be ready to respond to those questions. A lot of technology innovations are being done by diverse suppliers. We've got some brilliant, brilliant people out there that are developing these new programs and things that IBM is looking at, that MasterCard's looking at, Dell Computer. You know, diverse teams together are creating some great platforms out there. Younger people are so inclusive of everybody. They want to work for corporations that are forward-thinking. They don't want to work in the good old boy network. They want to work with corporations that actually value their input and the input of other people like them. And our supplier landscape is changing. Diverse companies are growing at a faster rate than any other type of startup businesses. So, like Tim said, you have people that are getting ready, Barbara, people that are getting ready to retire, are people that are being downsized, are looking to start their own businesses. These are all small businesses. They could be owned by women or men, veterans. Those are all important to corporations. For MasterCard, it's important because we want our supply base to look like our consumer base. If you have a MasterCard, you're one of our customers. So, what do we look for in small corporations? Well, first of all, we look for the same thing in small businesses that we look for in large businesses. We want quality. You have to be able to respond in a timely manner. We want competitive pricing, sustainability. Like Tim said, sometimes startup companies will be there and within a year, they're gone. We need to know that you're going to be there for the long haul if we're going to invest in there. Your capabilities. But then the things that are specific to diverse corporations, companies, are certification. Some people question the value of being a certified diverse company. And I can tell you it's important to corporations. And it's important because when you're certified, that means that you've gone the extra step. You've gone the extra mile to invest in your company to go to the certifying organizations like NMSDC and WeBank and Novova for veterans. So that's very important to us. Plus, when we're reporting our numbers to our customers and our investors, when you're certified, it means more than if you're just classified. So if I have two suppliers, one's certified, one's classified, with equal capabilities, I will be inclined to take the certified. And certification by a recognized certifying organization like NMSDC, WeBank, and your local or state certifying organizations. That's also very acceptable to most major corporations. And what about your physical reach? A lot of small businesses are local or regional. MasterCard's a global corporation. So if you have great capabilities, you're local, we're still interested. Maybe we would be interested enough to help you expand. If you want to expand to regional or even a national level, those are suppliers that we're looking for. Joint proposals with other diverse companies. Sometimes you think that your company is so small, there's no way you would ever be able to address a need for MasterCard because we print thousands of things. Every piece of junk mail that you get has something from that credit card company. We pay to have those things printed, thousands of them, but then they're sent out by the issuers. So, if you get the opportunity to do something and you feel that you can't fully respond to that, consider partnering with another small business where jointly you can make a great impact on the project that's being done. So how do we engage diverse suppliers? We identify the need. We review a diverse supplier list. And if I don't have if I have a gap in a category that I don't have a diverse supplier in, then I go to the certifying organizations that we belong to and find someone in that category that can meet that need. So then I will recommend them to the sourcing manager, and I'm part of the sourcing manager team. We will go together to the business owner and say, you have a need here, we have a diverse supplier that is being used by one of the other divisions, or if it's the gap, someone that's been used by an IBM, someone that has a great impact on the area. Maybe you've done business for some other smaller companies that are well known. We would consider that. By doing that and the business owner buys in on it, we would probably do a small trial, a pilot run of something to ensure that you have the capabilities that we're looking for. And if that was successful, then we're going to bring you in full fold. We're going to introduce you around, take you to other business units, have conference calls with people in St. Louis, if you have capabilities for things that are needed there. So, but it's not a fast process. You know. So, how can diverse companies engage MasterCard? Well, we're not part of Tim's Supplier Connection yet. We've had some conversations around there, but we do have our own supplier portal that you're more than welcome to go and register on. This is the website, procurement.mastercard.com, and this is what it looks like. You're going to get there. Once you go here, and microphone, I have trouble standing in one place. Okay, is this on? Did you hit it? Hit the mute button. Hit the mute button. How about the other button? Is that working? Okay, I'll just talk really loud. Okay, so once you get to this page, and it just says, hey, welcome to MasterCard. We're glad you're here. You go to information for suppliers. Okay, that will take you to our how to become a supplier. So when you go how to become a supplier, there's a new supplier registration. And that will take you into the portal that we use to search for suppliers when we identify a gap. Now, like Tim's platform, it's got lots of questions. And there's things on there like, oh, attach your W-9, and when were you incorporated, and what state, and are you diverse? You would be surprised how many people do not complete that particular question. I have one supplier that's one of my largest diverse suppliers. When he went in and registered on here, he failed to register that he was a diverse supplier. I'm like, really? Come on, this is one reason I brought you in. Don't hide that fact. That's a good thing to be a diverse supplier. So there's that. And then I pull reports routinely from our platform that shows me who's registered. Is there a gap that I have that I need? And then the process starts. So, again, the registration process is not easy, can be overwhelming. So, but you can go in, do it, and then save a little bit of it and come back to it later. You know, go have a glass of wine, come back. So just complete it. But then, like Tim mentioned, that's when our internal processes begin. Again, I identify a need, a gap in the category, and then go to my list of suppliers that have registered. Okay, do I have a diverse supplier? Because, Mr. Sourcing Manager, if you're going to do an RFP, you are going to include at least one diverse supplier. That's my rule. So, and by working with the sourcing managers, they know I'm not an easy person to work with. They don't want to make me mad. So, if they have an RFP that's going out, they will come to me and say, who do you recommend for this RFP? We've got an RFP going out next month that only diverse suppliers are included in. There are none non-diverse suppliers. So we can make an impact. I want to make an impact in MasterCard. I want MasterCard to be a best-in-class corporation known for its supplier diversity program. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. And now we'll hear from Kirsten Knott, who's owner of Ready or Not Design, who will tell us how she's been doing business with MasterCard.
Yeah, and I apologize, I forgot to introduce Kirsten. Kirsten is owner of Ready or Not Supplier, who is a key supplier to MasterCard. She actually helps design some of that junk mail you get. And the interesting part is, Ready or Not got started at MasterCard a long time ago because one of their owners used to work there. But the people she worked with all retired. Our suppliers have to prove themselves again. They had to be reintroduced to a whole new group of people, a whole new marketing team, a whole new set of our issuers that needed this junk mail printed. So, you know, it's not something that you can just go, well, I knew somebody there and so I'm in. Yeah, nah, that doesn't work. So here is Kirsten Knott.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you so much. Again, my name is Kirsten Knott, and I am one of the two owners of Ready or Not Design. We're a small graphic design firm in Columbus, Ohio. My partner, Mairead Reddy, is a graphic designer, and I'm a copywriter and a graphic designer. When your names are Ready or Not, you pretty much have no choice but to either form a band or a company. So in 2004, we formed a company. But before that, as Sue said, Mairead worked on site at MasterCard in the late 90s, and when she left, she kept in touch with a few connections, and this is years ago, but one contact in particular reached out to her with a project that she knew she would be qualified for. So that project sort of opened the door for us to become an approved vendor at MasterCard, which we did in 2007. So I do firmly believe that no matter what happens with business and how it changes in our lifetime, that it will always be firmly built on relationships. So once we became an approved vendor, we also gained 2 national certifications. We're certified by WeBank and also NGLCC, the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. So I do believe that becoming certified, obviously it's a great way to network and build those important relationships. It gives you access to events like tonight. So you get to meet people from various businesses, corporations obviously, and other small businesses, which is just as important to do. And as I'm sure you already know, you never know where one small conversation can lead. So over the years, our MasterCard relationship has grown significantly. To give you a frame of reference, back in 2007, we completed just 3 projects for MasterCard. That number has grown every year since then, and last year we completed 52 projects for them. Again, I attribute that growth to relationships, and we know we're only as good as the last project we've completed. So if a client at MasterCard likes what we've done, he or she is more likely to come to us for future work. Additionally, the benefit of working with a large corporation is that you're exposed to all these different people from different departments on one single project. So those new clients that you've met on one project are also the ones who are going to come to us and ask for a bid on another new project. So we have found that that's really how our business has grown within MasterCard. And when clients do ask us for estimates, we make sure we obviously reference similar projects that we've just completed, and we also show samples of relevant work, which is extremely important. Let's see, while we don't win every bid, we certainly don't win every bid, but we are very fortunate enough to now work with MasterCard on a regular basis. Even though we have grown, we are still a small business. It's still Mairead and I. And being a small business, I think, is what sets us apart. Of course, there will always be a need for large corporations to partner with large agencies. We know we can't compete with large agencies on many levels, but the needs of corporations are varied, and quite often they just need something done quickly, and they need it done well, and without a lot of fanfare, quite honestly. So in my opinion, what we can all bring to the table as small businesses are qualities that are indispensable in corporations. Here are 5 of those qualities. Number 1, be accessible. I believe that the people we work with at MasterCard like doing business with us because we are so accessible. We are quick to communicate. We are diligent about checking in and communicating our progress. Number 2, I would say be nimble. As a small business owner, we all wear many caps. We're the ones who answer the phone, and we're also the ones that do the heavy lifting. So when a client calls, they're communicating directly with us. And the communications don't have to trickle down through layers of people and layers of workflows. So we get the work done quickly and very efficiently. Number 3, be lean. The smaller the business, the lower the overhead. This allows us to be extremely competitive with our pricing. We don't have to factor in many different levels of expenses into our fee. Number 4, be on point. We don't try to be all things to all clients. We know what work we are qualified to do, and we're not afraid to say no to work that we don't feel we can deliver at the level of quality that we demand of ourselves. So doing what we do best and doing it well will always be our number 1 priority. Number 5, be all in. This probably goes without saying, but as small business owners, we're completely invested in what we do. It's our livelihood, after all. So we care about every detail of the work, and we care very much about the relationships we build. And I believe that clients can see this reflected in the work. So again, 5 characteristics that can set you apart and make you attractive to corporations: be accessible, be nimble, be lean, be on point, and be all in. So we're so appreciative of getting to work with MasterCard, and I hope that all of you get the chance to work, to experience work that fulfills you and rewards you as well. So thanks so much.
And our last speaker tonight, and then we'll start with questions and answers, is Janice George, Senior Buyer from Regeneron Pharmaceuticals.
Thank you, Barbara. I like the way you set up the program with the company, small company, corporation. I see the pattern there. I wanted to thank Kirsten for kind of setting the stage for what I'm going to talk about. I know how important it is to have a local influence and a local company with other small and local businesses. I myself am a Westchesterian, if there's such a word. I was born here, and I've spent the majority of my career here in Westchester County. And it's actually a rather unique path, which is, I think, why I was chosen to work at Regeneron. I've done a few different, been involved in different industries. I started in food, and then I went to a small textile local company. Then I went to a little startup called Nextel, and then I went back to a larger company actually in Greenwich, and then back to Westchester here at Regeneron. And Regeneron is a very unique organization. They have, of course, our motto is science to medicine, and we bring innovative medicines to our patients. And we are not a chip off the old block, as they would say. We have a very unique business style, and I think each one of the employees reflects that as well. And thank you, Kirsten, for setting the stage. Small businesses offer Regeneron a wealth that you would never think of if you're on the outside thinking big business only deals with big business. We are a very nimble organization, and we need the suppliers to help us be nimble, be flexible. Just because we think we're starting down one path and we need ABC, when G, H, and I come along, we turn to a small business to be able to turn on the dime like we do and be able to follow and be a good business partner. I don't want to reiterate what lots of people said, but just to hit on the highlights of what was really, really important that other people have mentioned. It's important to be small and flexible. I believe it was, I don't remember exactly, I apologize. Actually, Tim, I think you mentioned the ability for the companies to have their elevator pitch and to be very clear and concise. because as you know, we're all a little oversubscribed in our busy lives. So if we, and I'm a member of the procurement staff, so I'm the person that Tim described and said, okay, I need this. I need these 5 things. So if you present your company, be very clear and concise, and say, I can do these 10 things, it makes the buyer's job so much easier to come pick you out. So please remember to definitely be clear and concise in your messages. Another thing that Barbara asked me to talk about a little bit was being local. As a Westchester company, if we had the choice of a small business for far away and a small business close, we would definitely choose the small business. Once again, we want the ability to be flexible, and we do need, on occasion, our suppliers to come. And it also, just the local atmosphere, you know what we're about, and we know what you're about. So it's an instant synergy. As far as we being a pharmaceutical company, we definitely have some niche things that we're looking for, but broadly the professional services are what were already mentioned. We've got the personal development, everything from graphic design, creative, training, coaching, marketing, production, video services. I mean, it runs the gamut. And definitely to reiterate what Tim said, it really helps to have another pharma company endorsement, without a doubt. Personally, I'm a member of a small group of 21 pharma companies. It's an offshoot of the ISM. Our group is called the Supplier Diversity Pharma Forum. And when I'm stuck as to finding a supplier, I reach out to my network at the 20 other companies, and an endorsement from one of them really does go a long way. As far as how we do businesses run the small business, we're actually unique in that respect as well. We have an internal, we have a great department of procurement people, so when people reach out, we have our internal network, I have our external network. We are working on trying to get a vendor for a supplier portal, and that'll be coming later on this year. And I have information as to how to contact me in the supplier bag. So I think, I did want to mention that one of our local businesses, ProfDec, just gave us a Supplier Diversity Award, because we've done business with them for over 2 decades, and they gave us a recognition because they really appreciated our business, our mentorship, and just our support of them. So we were actually just very recently happy to receive their award. Okay, that's pretty much basically what I wanted to say, and to say thank you very much.